Today, we're tying the Jawbreaker. If you're chasing smallmouth or largemouth bass, this should be in your box. Hey everyone, Matt here with the Northern Angler in Traverse City, Michigan. You can find all the materials for this fly and lots more at thenorthernangler.com. I'm gonna be totally honest. This fly did not impress me in the bins and didn't exactly give me confidence in my box. In the water, however, this fly goes to work. It's a pretty straightforward bugger variation, but the bells and whistles we're gonna add really grab the attention of fish.
All right, we're gonna start with the hook securely in the vise. This is the Ahrex PR376. It's a 90-degree jig hook. I like the light wire here. It makes for great, easy hookups. This is a medium tungsten cone. You can use a brass cone. I just like these flies to really get down in a hurry. I'm gonna put 12 wraps of some lead wire here, lead free. Break that off, and this just helps seat this cone up right at the bend. We're going to start our thread right behind that lead wire. This is 50 denier GSP from Veevus. Great, thin, super strong thread. And I'm just going to wrap back to the bend of the hook here. For our tail, use some MFC Buggerboo. Really great stuff. Just makes things really easy. And I'm going to use one really full feather here. I'm going to measure this out. I want it to be about a hook length, maybe just a little bit longer. Hop that back. Capture it. And I won't trim it yet. I want to cover this stem up and work it up to the lead wire. Then there's not such a big step between the marabou to the shank to the wire. Just makes for a nice seamless body. Trim any excess there. Work your thread back to the point of the hook. We're going to add some crystal flash. We're going to use gold here. We're kind of sticking with that gold and rust color scheme today. I'm just going to fold one, work it back, trim it just beyond the ends of the marabou. Do one more on the other side. And there's plenty of flash in this. I don't think we need to add a whole lot more than one strand to each side. All right, measure that out, trim it. Great. Then we're going to add our little fly tail, little twister tail guy here. This is what makes the Jawbreaker not a woolly bugger, right? It's kind of this weird, goofy thing, but it really does make a difference, especially when you're chasing bass. I'm tying it in on my side. You only need one of these, and this thing is bright. I kind of am tying this version to really grab fish's attention. Just working on that. Thankfully it doesn't hop into the wave very much. And when you fish this, it'll twist back like this and recoil. It gives it lots of great extra action. Next we're going to tie our rib in. This is just brassy ultra wire in gold. Capture that, secure it. And I usually put it into my little material clip here. It stays out of the way. Next, our body material. This is pearl tinsel and root beer. I'd expose that core there. Try and minimize any bump. And now I'm going to advance my thread. This is kind of a key portion here. I want to leave the full space of an extra cone back here. So I'll do a half hitch because I got to leave room for my legs and my collar. Okay, double half hitch there. We can use the rotary function if we want. Makes it quick and easy. Just work up to your thread and no further. Capture that. A few wraps on top, a few in front. Make sure it's nice and secure. This doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to cover this up. Trim any excess. You can comb this out if you want. Sometimes it looks a little flat. But for our hackle, using Bard, again, MFC. These are just nice rooster saddles. And I'm going to preen all this marabou down. I don't want this stuff. I'm going to trim it out. Preen some extra stuff down. Trim it, give us a nice tie-in point. Lay that in there. Capture it. And trim this down. Use a hackle plier here. You don't need to. These are nice and long, usually pretty easy to hang on to. And you can use the rotary here. I'm just going to do this real quick. Open space wraps. Make sure you got a good hold on it. Space them out. We don't need this to be super dense. Grab your wire. I'm going to capture this hackle with it. And then I'll work my wire up the shank. And this captures that feather, makes it nice and durable, gives it a nice segmentation. And I'm going to work right up to this empty spot we left. Capture this. I'm going to do 3 on top, 3 in front. Bring your bobbin up. Give it that helicopter treatment. Break it off. I'm going to sweep back. I'm using my offhand here. I just kind of want to wrap down on these. Clean this up, sweep everything back. Trim any excess off the back end. Looking good. We're going to keep going with this super bright color scheme. We're going to go with some fluorescent orange legs. I want this thing to pop. Okay, fold these. Bring them to the middle of this spot so you can wrap back on them. That way you have some good purchase. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Tension with your offhand. Wrap back on top. Great. You can trim these now if you want. I usually trim them to not quite the full length of the tail, about middle of the tail. I just don't want them to compete with that twister tail and get all tangled up. And then to finish it off, we're going to use a collar of schlappen. So you just need 1 feather. And I actually tie this in at the tip. So I'm going to prep the tip. Find where some of that thicker material is. Wrap down, wrap right up to the cone. Make sure you're nice and secure. I'll do a half hitch. And then I'm going to wet my finger and preen this feather back, fold it. And this first wrap is usually the most important. You want to try and not catch these legs. It just kind of sets the tone. And then I'm just taking wraps right on up to the cone. Now there's a few ways you could finish this. You can do, bunny in a dubbing loop if you want. This is just quick, easy, and this stuff is super durable. All right, once I've reached the cone, capture it with my thread. Try not to jump in front of the cone. Really make sure you're secure here. Trim that out. And next, I'm just going to use my whip finish tool. I'm going to do 2 whip finishes. I want this to be You can add some adhesive if you want, but I'm not going to on this one. And then I'm going to work this cone back just a little bit. Now, if you want, I find mine tend to stay pretty well with this 90-degree jig hook. You can add, if you want, some thread wraps to the front. I'd go to a thicker thread like a 140, build up a nice little thread cone, hit it with the UV, call it good. That is the Jawbreaker.
So there are a ton of color variations of this fly, from basic black and olive to wild purple and chartreuse. They all work. Grab the materials in the description and tie a few up. Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and we'll see you soon in the shop or out on the water.